So I've been working on my tiger drawing for quite a while now. I'm working on the fur on the back now. I've done the whole face, the eyes, the nose and the mouth, the fur around his collar. These are very fluffy long hairs. With fur it is always very important to look how long the furs are. They short hair or are they long hairs? When you have long hair you make long strokes with your pencil, and when you have shorter hair, like there for example, you make shorter strokes with your pencil. It's also very important to make the strokes in the direction as the fur is going. It sounds quite logical also actually. For example, this fur is obviously going that way, so you make the strokes in that direction as well. And for me, I always find it easier to just turn the drawing like that. And I'm gonna put an eraser down here so that it doesn't fall off the table. So it's always easier to just put the drawing like that so that you can make easier strokes instead of that you have to put your hand in a really weird angle. I have the photo that I use as a reference. I have it on my computer, I have it on my laptop, and right now I'm busy with this part here. That's this here. So I'll draw a bit for you to show you how I do that. Just gonna roll up my sleeves a little bit so that I don't make smudges. Normally I have a blank sheet under my hand like that, but just to show you how I do it, it's easier to just leave that out for now. So these have to be quite short strokes. So I just do this. It sounds a lot more difficult than it is actually. You just do this and you just create strokes like this. Make sure it goes a bit in both directions. So that's how you do it. This has to be quite dark, so I start with a 4B, and then to make it even darker I do it with a 6B. But first, just to make sure that I do everything correctly, I start with a 4B. I will also make more tutorials when I start my next drawing about how to do the eyes, how to create all the details in eyes, which is very important to have a lot of details in the eyes, to always have a white spot like this, because the light shines in it and it's never completely black. And that's how you create character, and that you can see that it's an animal that's alive. So we'll just go work on the fur a bit more so that you can see how I do that. You always have to try to not do it too rough. You have to make it look soft, because fur is soft. Even though it's a bit of rough and short fur, it's still soft, so you have to make sure that it looks really soft. It always takes me quite a lot of time to create certain details, like here for example, you had a lot of details I can show you in the photo, like around there, this edge here, and you see that very long hairs sticking out and going in all kinds of directions, which is not a very easy thing to do. Or here you see a lot of contrast. It's really important to create the contrast like that. And what I always do, people ask me, like when I have white fur or white whiskers, how do I do that? They ask me, do I use an eraser or something, or do I draw around it? I indeed draw around it. I leave it white. When I set the drawing up, I make a bit of a mark there so that I have to leave that out. So I draw around it, and it's of course very detailed and a lot of work, as you can see here. For example, a lot of white whiskers. Here and there they're still a bit too wide. I want to make them a little bit more narrow and add a little bit more detail in the whiskers itself, because then it looks more real than just completely white, because that's not how it looks in a real tiger, in the whiskers of a real tiger. But yeah, this is how I draw fur. Just strokes like this in the direction that the fur is going. Very important. So I hope this was a bit useful. I will make more tutorials when I start my next drawing. I try to make tutorials from the beginning to the end instead of only of the end, because I'm almost finished here. I only have this part to do and then it's finished. So thank you very much for watching.